Start spreading the woo. Brian Woo, 6-3 over the New York Yankees. The Mariners with another win. Two straight. We're with Milo Hoffman. I say we, just me today. No Levi. Me and
Yeah.
Milo talking some Mariners Yankees post game show. Milo, what happened in that one?
Drew, I don't know. After you win seven straight, there's always going to be that inevitable little drop off. That's what's happening now. Brian Wu was was lights out. I mean, I have Judge look silly, Soto look silly, Volpe looks, everyone looks silly. Like he was dominant, and good pitching is always going to be good hitting. And so Wu was on his game tonight, and Clark Schmidt battled for the Yanks.
He had a good
You can only
outing.
do so much. He had a good outing. He went five, kept the Mariners, kept the Yankees in the game. But at the end of the day, he was nasty, and it didn't look like the Yankees were hitting him anytime soon. And so yeah, another loss. Hopefully we can get a split. But the Mariners are solid. I'll give it to you guys. The Mariners
Thanks.
are solid. Sure. No
Yeah.
problem.
Brian Wu, he's holding an ERA below one this year in his three starts. And the fact that he's only getting better, he was rehabbing just under a month ago. And now he goes into one of the hottest lineups in the New York Yankees and makes some of the best hitters by a lot of standards, the best hitter in Juan Soto, look kind of silly. Two strikeouts. At one point, I think Soto had going into this game, Soto had more walks than strikeouts. He had
Yeah.
9 walks to 8 strikeouts. He comes out of this one, and now the strikeout category is indeed leading the walk category for Juan Soto. And Brian Wu just diced up this New York Yankee lineup, Milo. Something
Yeah.
that
Nasty.
I think that you guys haven't really experienced too much this year is just total domination by the other starting pitcher.
Yeah. The Yankees lineup has been on all season pretty much. I mean, there's been a couple, dips, and that's bound to happen. But Wu, he was commanding the zone. He was confident with his fastball. His off speed looked good. Really everything. And there were a couple hard hit balls that the Mariners were able to scoop up. But at the end of the day, Wu was the reason that the Mariners won today. And I'm sure you talk about the offense a little bit. But the Mariners also to put up a couple runs too, which is what you want to do. Ty France got involved again, so it's
Yeah,
good.
Ty France, a homer, but the guy that I really want to shout out, Demo, Dylan
Yeah.
Moore, one of the longest tenured Mariners since 2019, the veteran on this team, 2 home runs in this one, an insurance homer in
It's
the
really
ninth,
annoying.
I believe, and then he had the 2-run shot. Yeah, Dylan Moore, just a really up and down baseball player, but when he's hot, he's hot. He can play, 8 positions on the field. He's, pretty consistent in the lineup as far as, he can get a hit when you need him to get a hit. He's batting the 9 hole today, and that worked out really well. He kind of turned over the top of the lineup. But it was really the bottom of the lineup today that got going for the Mariners. Those bottom 4 guys: Ty France, 2 for 4; Mitch Garver, 2 for 4, including a loud out. Josh Rojas, 1 for 4, and Demo went 3 for 4. So you combine those are the last 4 guys in the Mariners lineup. That's 8 of Seattle's 10 hits from those 4 guys. So when you really look at it, the Yankees, they pitched really well to those first 5 guys and kind of just couldn't get things going when it
Yeah.
was looking at those bottom 4. Sometimes you need the bottom of the lineup to produce. And today, that's what the Mariners, that's what the Mariners did. We talk about the Mariners offense, Milo. What happened with the Yankees offense once Brian Wu left? Because you immediately had that 3-run shot and then kind of went stagnant.
Yeah, Gleyber Torres came through there. He had a big 3-run shot for the Yanks. He was able to keep them in it. And then, I mean, I'll give it to you guys. You guys have a couple guys in the pen that just straight up throw gas. I mean, Stanek is pumping at 100 miles an hour. Munoz is pumping at 100 miles an hour. Like, there's only so much you can do. And the Yankees really, I mean, they had a chance. They had a couple chances, really the momentum was there. The
Yeah.
momentum was there when Glaber hit the bomb. And that next inning, you have to lock the Mariners down. And this is when the decision making comes in. Um, Aaron Boone put in a pitcher that has never thrown a pitch for the New York Yankees in his entire career. I'm trying to get his name. I forget his name. Do you have his name? But he pretty much
Victor Gonzalez.
no, the guy before him.
Was it
Lefty.
Dennis Santana?
No, before him too.
Clayton Andrews?
Yes, Clayton Andrews. He came in and I said, who is this guy? First pitch. The first pitch,
Yeah,
I believe
Homer.
Cal or someone, yeah, someone hit the ball into the short porch. In those innings, you have to lock the team down when you have the momentum. And there's a long inning, it dragged out, and then Dennis Santana gave up a couple runs. But I mean, just not a good look for Aaron Boone. I really don't know why you bring in someone who hasn't thrown a single pitch all season long in a one-run game. I understand if you're down four, but Gleyber Torres hits that homer, you got to get someone up, and you have to have someone ready, someone like Birdie or someone who's more high leverage that can come in a big moment like that. Instead, you give up the homer, and really then it felt like it was over. Um, it's
Yeah, you bring up
tough.
a good point. I mean, you did definitely have the momentum there. The Yankees looked like they were going to. They put a three spot in the seventh. If you get through that eighth inning unscathed, then it's a one-run game. You can start creating runs. I
Yeah.
talk about it all the time. Manufacturing runs. It's a lot
Yeah.
easier to do that when you're down one compared to down two. And the difference in that one run is huge because let's say you got a guy on first, then all of a sudden you can start to play some small ball to get that
Yeah.
one runner home and tie up the ball game. But then you fall down two, you get into this weird limbo where small ball really isn't the right answer, and bunting and stuff like that because you need two runs. But also just swinging for the fences is also kind of risky because you still need a guy on base. You're not down a lot. You're only down two. That
Yeah.
one run is a big difference.
Yeah, it's huge, huge difference. Like when Glaber hits that homer, you're like, that's great. And like, it's always so weird. Like this, there's been situations like this. I mean, when you're a fan of baseball, like you hit a 3-run shot when you're down four in the late game, you're like, it's great. You're like, oh, I wish someone else is on because when the offense is stagnant, you don't know when you're gonna get an opportunity like that again. So Glaber, he was able to drive in three, and I will say the Yankees did get the tying run to the plate in the ninth. Um,
Yeah,
but
and Munoz shut it down.
Munoz shut it down. You always kind of knew that Munoz was going to buckle down and get the job done. I'll give Volpe credit though; he worked a great at bat in the ninth. I thought the game was locked up and it was wraps, but the Yankees were able to bring the tying run to the plate, which is you always like to show fight in the end. But I mean, you gotta. It's unfortunate because I've been through Yankees teams last year, 2021. They go in these droughts where they literally can't score more than 3 runs. So I hope this is not that. I know yesterday they scored 4, but it's like it wasn't, you gotta break out at some point. And also another interesting move by Aaron Boone. He brought in Giancarlo Stanton to pinch hit. I know it's he's the better player than Austin Wells, but I believe he's like 4 for 48 in his career in pinch hitting. At some point, you have to respect those numbers. He's not going to come through there. Yeah, I would stick with Wells.
And
I don't
Wells had
know.
a hit at that point.
Balls had a hit, and pinch hitting is one of the toughest things to do in sports, in my opinion. I mean, hitting a baseball is hard enough. Hitting a baseball when you're sitting down for the entire game and you're asked to come on when the game is on the line, you're expected to do something. I mean, come on. Like, are you kidding me? That's so ridiculously hard. And especially for a guy like Stanton who's so streaky, I would have stuck with Wells there. He already had a hit in the game. I know he's lefty, but Stan struggles pinch hitting and the Yankees fall 33-17.
Yeah, which still looking mighty good. You touched on a few things, Milo. I want to really quickly touch on Anthony Volpe. That does extend his hitting streak,
Yeah.
correct? That last
Yeah.
hit.
Anthony, I believe he's at 14
Yeah,
straight
it's
games.
14. It's 14 or 15. Either way, Volpe,
14 or 15. Yeah.
yeah, continues to hit the baseball and just gets it done in the ninth inning there. And then you
Mhm.
talked about this, kind of the momentum sorting like yesterday with the 4 runs. That's a tough loss. I mean, there's no really way to go around it. The Mariners kind of escaped with that one, and all the audience watching, mostly Seattle fans, I assume, They probably know that. That was a game the Mariners probably should have lost, and they steal a win.
Yeah.
And now you go into game number two. And when there's a funny way that when you kind of steal a game from a
Yep.
team, that next game, you have this kind of unspoken confidence where it's like, we won that game and we played bad. Like, what if we play good? And
Mhm.
that's what the Mariners did. They came in, they played really good baseball today, clean baseball, and they beat the Yankees 6-3. This is back-to-back losses for your New York Yankees, Milo. The first time they've lost back-to-back times at home this entire season, which is
Yeah.
impressive as it is. Now you're in a moment where the Mariners could take 3 of 4 tomorrow, and then if they win another one after that, then you're on a losing streak. I mean, four
Yeah.
straight is a losing streak. How do you avoid that going in tomorrow with another really good pitcher in Bryce Miller? And I know you probably haven't really heard of Bryce Miller much. You you
I've heard
texted
his
me,
name, Rock.
like, who's this Brian Wu guy? Like, yeah, damn right. I mean, he's the best
Right.
fifth starter in baseball. And Bryce Miller is by, all standards, a better pitcher than Brian Wu. So if you
Wow.
guys can't get a hit off of Wu today, you gotta hope that you can figure something out tomorrow, or you're gonna lose 3 straight.
Yeah, I mean Bryce Miller, he's nasty. You guys certainly have a really, really good rotation. The offense is gonna have to they're just gonna have to show up. Soto's gonna have to show up. Soto hasn't done
0 for
much.
4. That's
0 for
huge.
4, Soto needs to bounce back. Judge needs to
Rare.
show up. Rizzo, Stan needs to play. I mean, I will say today's lineup was very weak. I don't we played Trent Grisham, who's been absolutely abysmal all
Yeah.
season long.
Right.
Wells is not our starter, if I'm being honest. It's Trevino, who came in and actually got a hit today. Um, I I think if we put our A lineup out there and people come, they just wake up, because I know Bryce Miller is a great pitcher, but he still has an ERA over 3. He still is bound to give up homers. He's given up 8 homers on the year, so it's possible to
Good
get
point.
to him. And the Yankees, I think, obviously they're good at hitting homers, so you get a couple guys on Soto. I feel like today we were missing Grisham getting on. Trent Grisham getting on is huge. The number 9 guy getting on is vital, because that just switches the entire. I remember I was watching the game, and I think twice I was like, Grisham, please get on, because that turns the lineup over with no
Yeah.
outs. You're starting the inning. You're the 9 hitter. You're kind of like the second
Well,
leadoff guy. That's huge. So
especially when you juxtapose that with Dylan Moore, who was the 9 hitter for the Mariners and had 2 homers today.
yeah, it's a massive, massive difference. So maybe tomorrow we'll put in Nick Birdie, who can slide in that 9 hole. He's been really good all year. He's hitting for contact. And listen, Nestor Cortez is gonna have to come to play. He's been solid all season long. 3.5 ERA.
Yeah.
He gives up homers as well. But it's unfortunate, and the Mariners seem like they're getting the offense clicking a little bit now, and you're doing that without your best player really hitting. So who knows how good you guys could be? I mean, tomorrow. But listen, a split for the Yanks now is obviously really good, and I don't know. I don't even know if I'm expecting it. I mean, you guys seem like you have total control of the series. And so I just don't know. Maybe this NW Sportscast is bad luck. Not sure.
Yeah, maybe. Um, you talked about Nestor Cortez giving up those homers, and usually you shouldn't be concerned about that because this team has not been able to get a lot of power going. Today, though, first 4-run home run day for the Mariners since last August.
Wow.
So, that was really when this offense was clicking, was last August. They have 4 home runs today. Now you're facing a pitcher in Nestor Cortez where, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the runs he ends up giving up is that hard contact,
Yeah.
to the
He's a
short porch,
prospect.
etc. Would not be surprised if tomorrow Julio Rodriguez picks up his 3rd home run of the year. And you look down the lineup, like Luke Raley, super hot, another home run today. This is a guy that
He
a
was on.
month ago, Raley was playing twice a week, and now he's hitting third for you. Raley is coming in clutch. I mean, Cal Raleigh, I could see him, scooting one into the short porch on his power side. He went over 3 tonight. If he turns it around, that'll be huge as well. You can't expect the bottom of the lineup to produce 8 hits, but I do think it's reasonable to assume that Julio Rodriguez will probably pick up a hit tomorrow. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was some hard contact. The big thing for Julio has been putting the ball in the air. He's
Mhm.
top 90 plus percentile in hard contact and exit velo. The problem is his launch angle his average launch angle is below 10 degrees right now. It's not where it needs to be for that power. So what Julio Rodriguez really needs to do is he needs to square up the ball versus Nestor Cortez, get on that fastball, which his fastball is kind of mediocre. If
Yeah,
I
no, he doesn't have gas. He
Yeah,
Lester has his ways, and you look at him, you're like, how does this guy? He's consistently good. He doesn't top
it's
higher than
sneaky.
93, really. I mean, that's like even good for him. But hey, you know what they call him? Call him Nasty Nestor for a reason.
Nestor.
Pull out his tricks.
Yeah, he's sneaky. He's a sneaky baseball player, and he's a guy I would not be surprised if the Mariners go hitless against for the first 6 innings. That's kind of where we're at with this baseball team offensively. One day they look great, the next day they look terrible. Yesterday, if they didn't have that ninth inning, I would have been on the post game show and I would have told you guys something completely different. We got absolutely shut down yesterday. That our offense looked
Yeah,
abysmal. And even in the ninth inning, it didn't look great. It wasn't a lot of hard contact. It kind of just
right.
got the job done. But then today, like what I said, in games that you're not supposed to win, if you end up winning them, the next game following, you team like you're on top of the world. And this was I think this was an expected win. I honestly do. I came to this game expecting the Mariners to win this one. Now, tomorrow's a different story, but today I'm not surprised the Mariners came away with a 6-3 win at all.
Yeah, and baseball's such a funny sport. I mean, if you were to tell me yesterday in the seventh inning that the Mariners would be up 2-0 in this series, I wouldn't have believed it at all.
Me
And if
neither.
honestly,
Me
if
neither.
you'd have told me that the Mariners scored 6 runs the next day, it's just baseball. That's how baseball works. You build some confidence, you get in a roll, you go out, you score 6 runs the next day, and you win. And now you're looking at a possible series win tomorrow. I mean, and like, if you guys win tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if you just go ahead and sweep us. Like, that's how baseball works. But at this point, I'm going to ask you a question. Would you be mad if they split the series? Would you be happy or mad? At this point, you kind of got to be mad, I think.
You got to look at it from a totality. And at the start of this series, I wanted to split it. So I'm not going to be mad. Mad's
All
not
right.
the right word. I'm going to be content
Hmm.
after if we split the series.
What about
But
expectations changing?
it's true.
You're up
It's true.
2-0.
But what job's not finished. But what
Job not finished.
what I do think is that the Mariners have an opportunity right now. And that if they don't at least win one of these next two, that opportunity is kind of wasted. Look, I
Yeah.
know the Yankees, they're still quite a bit above us in the standings, but this is a team that, whether you like it or not, Milo, we could be competing for a wild card spot later on in the season. I mean, the
Yeah.
Orioles, you
It's
never know.
true.
They could run away with
Very
this one.
true.
I mean, this could be a huge, not just for the momentum going in back to Seattle after this, but it's just huge getting that tiebreaker over a team you could potentially be vying a playoff spot for. That's obviously really hypothetical and speculative, but I do think it'll be a missed opportunity. Will I be mad? No, but I do think we'll probably win one of these next two games. That's just kind of how I'm feeling it out right now. I think 3 or 4 would be amazing. Wouldn't be surprised if we drop both of these, though. I would be surprised if we swept. I think you guys will get one.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys sweep, that would certainly be something. But I don't think you'll sweep. I mean,
I
I don't
don't know.
know. I did just say I really don't know. It all depends. The Yankees, from a Yankees fan perspective, need to come out tomorrow and they need to get on the board early. They need to get runners on base. They need to come through with runners in scoring position. That's the bottom line. So
Yeah, and you
Yankees,
just faced the Mariners' worst starting pitcher today, so that should make you
count the
feel.
amount of times you've said that.
Yep, that fifth starter. Um, the Mariners now 27-22, 5 games over 500. The most over 500 they've been all season
Yeah.
is now today. Let me check my date. May 21st, Tuesday, May 22nd over there
22nd. Yeah.
in the East
I was
Coast,
like, wait, what?
21st over here, and now 3 games above the Texas Rangers, who's really
Wow.
sliding right now. The Mariners only 5 games over 500, but got a 3-game lead in the division, the AL West. which looked like a really competitive division going into the season, definitely kind of turning into
Yeah.
somewhat of a snooze fest, some would say. Would definitely expect the Rangers and Astros to turn it around, though. The Astros are already starting to do that, but the Mariners need to continue building on this lead, continue to take advantage of a middling Rangers club and a struggling Astros team. And hopefully that continues tomorrow. Bryce Miller versus Nestor Cortez. It's going to be a fun one, Milo. Hopefully we can
Yeah.
do this again. It's been good. Thank you for coming
Yeah.
on the NW
Of course.
Sportscast.
Of course, it's been an honor. And yeah, we'll look to be back tomorrow.
All right,
So
sounds
looking
good.
forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And this is about the time where I say, as always, Levi, but I can't say that to Milo because he's going to say a different team. So I'm going to say it myself. Go Mariners. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.